Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the president of the American National Cattlewomen, Lana Slaten.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Denver, the Mile High City, and to the 2011 American National Cattlewomen's Association Convention and the National Cattlemen's Beef Association meeting. And as they said, my name is Lana Slaten, and I am from Coleman, Alabama. But that's not important to remember today. Coleman County is the #1 cow-calf county in the state of Alabama. But that's not what's important to remember today. In fact, Coleman County is the #1 agriculture county in the state of Alabama, ranking #1 in cattle, poultry, and sweet potatoes. But all that's really not important today. In addition to all of those facts about where I live, the July 2009 issue of Beef Magazine places Coleman County as the number 130th top beef cow counties in the United States. I was really quite proud of that. But what is important to remember today is that in the #1 cattle county in the state of Alabama and the number 130th beef cow county in the country, I still have friends that believe that beef is not safe to eat. It's important to know that I have friends who argue that many of the health problems in the United States is a direct result of farmers and ranchers loading up their animals with antibiotics and hormones. It is important to remember today that I heard a story on the North Alabama news broadcast that cattle are one of the great contributors to global warming, and that people can actually contribute to protecting the environment by eating less beef. Now, you and I know that's not so. It's important that my son tells me that his classmates who tell him about the horrible fates that our animals suffer on their way from the farm to the grocery store. It is important that comments made on the Oprah Winfrey Show can adversely affect the cattle market so much that it drops the limit in a single afternoon. And I know some of you sitting in this room remember that day. It is important that a growing percent of young people are becoming vegetarians because they have been told that that diet is healthier than the one that contains meat, and especially our product, beef. It is important that I know that these are myths and misconceptions, and both individually and as a member of the American National Cattlewomen and NCBA and my state and local chapters, that I can make a difference. I don't really want to tell you how old I am today. But I have, during my lifetime, seen the pendulum swing. When I was growing up in rural Alabama, the issues I just mentioned were not issues. If you did not grow up on a farm, your grandparents or cousins, or at least some of your friends had a farm that you visited, and you knew where your food was coming from. You knew how it was raised and grown. You knew about crop production and beef production. Today, that is not the case, and it seems that too often, at least where I come from, when farmers get too old to farm and the children have no interest in sustaining the farm, it is subdivided, and the last thing raised on the land is houses. I'm not saying that that's right or wrong. I'm just saying that that's a fact. It's a sign of our times. But as we move farther and farther from the agrarian society that we used to be, there's a gap that has developed and continues to widen. Those important issues that I've just mentioned are a direct result of that gap that exists between two societies, a shrinking agricultural society, you and I, and a growing non-agricultural society. A friend of mine who is very much involved in politics, both locally and nationally, recently told me that it used to be that most politicians were reasonably familiar with agriculture. That is no longer the case. As we see that gap widen, we see the focus on the political side of agriculture move toward alternative fuels, organic foods, and other issues that bypass mainstream traditional agriculture. It is our job, yours and mine, those of us involved in the most noble profession in the world, that of feeding people, to bridge that gap. Somewhere down the road, most of you will not remember that I am Lana Slaten from Coleman, Alabama, the number 130th top beef cow county in the nation. But I will have done my job if you remember that it is incumbent upon us to bridge that gap that exists between the two groups I'm talking about. I will have been incredibly successful if you remember that it is our jobs to arm ourselves with the facts and educate those who blindly follow what they hear in a 30-second soundbite on the news. We bridge the gap by being non-confrontational, but confident in our debating the issues that face us. We will not win over everyone. There are some on the other side that lend credibility to us because of their lack of substance. There is an old saying that goes like this: if the truth is on your side, use the truth. If the law is on your side, use the law. If you have neither on your side, you pound on the table. I hear a lot of table pounding these days. Let me encourage you to combat that with the truth and learn the facts about BSE, E. coli, hormone and antibiotic use, how we take care of our environment, and how we are the stewards of the resources that God has blessed us with. I commend you for being here and being engaged in doing just that. It is not the consumers versus the producers. We're consumers too. And that gives us credibility when we go and tell people why beef is healthy and safe and nutritious. And we would not feed our family, want them to feed their family something that we would not feed our own families. The gap seems to continue to get wider, and will we win? I don't know. But we must continue to try, persevere. Abraham Lincoln once said, the easiest way to defeat an enemy is to turn him into a friend. And we do that with the science-based facts that our industry leaders in NCBA provides for us to use. I'm sure you have all heard the story, or maybe not. I do have a short story. But before that, I want to tell you that ANCW, I believe that the American National Cattle Women and our programs address these problems, address these challenges today. With the National Beef Ambassador Program, the youth that go out and talk to their peers. We all know that that age group comes to us for all their advice, right? They go to each other. And when we do leadership training and spokespersons training, industry training with these kids, they go back to their college campuses and to their schools, and they talk to their peers, people that we can't reach, you and I, at this age, and make millions of impressions. That program's been around long enough that we're seeing those kids go into leadership positions in our industry and outside of our industry. Yay. I hope some of them become legislators. How nice would it be to have some of those already trained and knowledgeable about what we do? National Beef Cook-Off does a really good job with our age consumers, us ladies that are going to the meat case and making that decision about what to take home and cook for supper. We make that personal connection on a one-to-one basis. It's changing this year to be a more consumer-based program, to answer these large challenges that we've been handed. I don't have to tell y'all about the big challenges that we face. Y'all know about HSUS and PETA. And I feel that our programs do a good job of addressing those. And NCBA is going to take all of us working together to defeat these challenges ahead of us. I'm going to tell you a short story, and then I'm going to go. And if you think that if you're thinking I'm just one person, what difference can I do? What difference can I make? There was a Sunday school teacher that had a little boy Sunday school class. He had two kids that showed up all the time, the same two kids. His prayer was, Lord, please send me something big to do for you. I want to do a large thing for your kingdom. I want to make a difference in a big way for you. He always had these same two little boys came. His prayer was always the same. He might have 4 or 5, but it was always the same little two. To make it very short, one of those little boys grew up to be Billy Graham. We never know whom we touch and what influence that we have when they go out, where those concentric circles of influence will end up. So I challenge you today to join me to bridge the gap. Take this information and go home and take it to your community. Talk to people. Tell your story, because if we don't tell our story, someone will be telling it for us. So my challenge is for you today to take this home and recruit. I'm a member because I believe in what we do and because I believe we are industry leaders and we answer those questions of those challenges. It has been my honor to serve the beef industry as the American National Cattlewomen President for 2010, and I thank you for your time.